You hand a stranger a small piece of paper, and he hands you food. You didn't fight him for it. You didn't trade him anything real. That paper is not food. It is not gold. It is not worth anything. And yet the whole world agrees to pretend that it is. Today you did this without thinking. A number moved on a screen. For almost all of human history, none of this existed. No coins, no banknotes, no prices, no money at all. So how did humans invent money? The answer is not what you were taught. You probably learned the same story everyone learns. It goes like this. Once upon a time, before money, people simply traded things directly. You have grain. I have a goat. We swap. Simple barter. But barter has a problem, and the problem is annoying. What if I want your goat, but you don't want my grain? So the story says humans invented money to fix that. A middle thing. Adam Smith wrote exactly this in 1776 in The Wealth of Nations. It is clean. It is logical. It is in every textbook. And it is wrong. Because anthropologists went looking for that barter world and never found it. Caroline Humphrey of Cambridge put it bluntly in 1985. No example of a pure barter economy has ever been described. None. The barter story isn't history. It's a guess that got repeated for 250 years. So if money didn't come from barter, where did it come from? To find out, you have to go back before coins, before markets, before cash. In a small band of people, nobody needs money to get by. If you have meat today, you give some to me. No price, no payment. Because tomorrow, when you have nothing, I will feed you. That isn't charity. It's memory. I owe you. You owe me. This is the real origin of money. Not trade. Debt. The anthropologist David Graeber made this argument in 2011. His book was called Debt, The First 5,000 Years. His claim, credit came first. The favor. The obligation. The tab. Money didn't start as a coin in your hand. It started as a number in your head. The problem is your head can only track so many debts. In a village of 50, everyone remembers who owes what. But grow the group and memory breaks. You need to write the debt down. And the first people to write debts down were not traders. They were temples. In ancient Mesopotamia, the temple was the bank, the barn, the ledger. Priests recorded who deposited grain, who owed grain, who had been paid. 5,000 years ago, money was already just accounting. But to write a debt, you need a unit. How much is owed exactly? The Sumerians solved this with a word you still half know, the shekel. A shekel wasn't a coin. It was a weight of barley and of silver. 1 measure of silver equals 1 measure of grain. Now everything has a price. Silver became the ruler you measured all value against. And once you can price anything, someone will write the prices into law. Around 1754 BC, a king named Hammurabi did exactly that. His code fixed wages and fines, all measured in silver. A doctor's fee, a builder's pay, the price of an ox, all in shekels of silver. Notice what has happened. Value is now a number backed by a state, but silver is heavy. You can't weigh it out for every loaf of bread. And you have to trust that the lump isn't secretly mixed with cheap metal. Every trade needed a scale. Every trade needed a test. It was slow. What if the weight and the promise it was pure could be stamped in once? Forever. Meanwhile, other peoples were solving money with whatever they trusted most. In much of Africa and Asia, the answer was a small shell. The cowrie shell. Hard to fake. Easy to carry. Impossible to forge. For centuries, empires ran on shells. People were bought and sold in them. In other places, money walked on 4 legs. Cattle. Our word capital comes from the Latin for a head of cattle. Salt, cacao, giant stone discs, dozens of peoples, dozens of monies. Each worked. Each had a flaw. Shells wash up. Cattle die. Salt dissolves. The perfect money would be scarce, durable, and the same everywhere. One kingdom, in what is now Turkey, was about to find it. Around 600 BC, in the kingdom of Lydia, someone had an idea. Take a lump of precious metal, fix its weight, then stamp a mark on it. That stamp said, "A king guarantees this." You don't need a scale anymore. The coin was born. History's first standardized money. The metal was electrum, a natural blend of gold and silver. The Greek historian Herodotus credited the Lydians as the first to mint coins. Their most famous king gave us a phrase you still say, rich as Croesus. His coins were so trusted they spread across the world. Now a stranger 100 miles away would take your coin without a word. Because he trusted the stamp, even if he didn't trust you. That is the real magic of the coin. It moved trust from people to metal. Coins spread to Greece, then Rome. Money became an empire's bloodstream. But coins did something darker, too. They made a new kind of power possible, because whoever stamps the coin decides what it's worth. And a coin is easy to shave, to melt, and to quietly cheat. Money had become power, and power always wants more of it. Here is a question. Why did states love coins so much? David Graeber gave a chilling answer. Coins are perfect for paying soldiers. An army marches far from home. You can't pay it in grain or favors. But a coin? A coin is trust you can carry into any land. So the king pays his soldiers in coins. But then, a clever trap. He demands that everyone pay their taxes back to him. In those same coins, suddenly the whole kingdom must get coins. So everyone works to earn them, feeding the soldiers, supplying the army, serving the state for coins. Graeber called it the military coinage complex. Money and war, one machine. The coin wasn't just for buying bread. It was a tool to move a whole people. Tax pulls the coin out. War pushes the coin in. Round and round. For over 1,000 years, that was money. Metal, stamped by a ruler. Heavy, limited. And whenever a king ran out, he shrank the coin. Then far to the east, someone made money out of almost nothing. In China, merchants were tired of hauling strings of heavy coins. So they left the coins with a trusted man and took a paper receipt instead. The paper said the bearer of this note can claim this many coins. And then people realized they could just trade the paper itself. Why move the coins at all if everyone trusts the note? By around 1000 AD, China's government printed the first official paper money. Printing presses stamped value onto paper that cost almost nothing to make. When Marco Polo saw this, he could barely believe it. A great ruler, he wrote, was turning paper into the money of the realm. This was a turning point. Money was drifting away from its own substance. A coin at least was made of the valuable thing. Paper was only a promise. And a promise is only as good as the one who makes it. Print too much paper and each note is worth less. The promise dilutes. China learned this the hard way. Runaway printing. Collapsing paper. But the idea never died. Paper money was too useful to give up, because it revealed a secret. Money was never really the thing. It was the trust. Now jump to Europe and one small trick that changed the world. In 1600s London, people stored their gold with goldsmiths for safekeeping. The goldsmith gave back a paper receipt. And those receipts began to circulate. Then the goldsmith noticed something. Almost no one came for their gold at once. The gold just sat there. So he had a very tempting idea. He wrote new receipts for gold that wasn't his and lent them out. Paper claims to gold now outnumbered the gold itself. Money made from nothing. This is fractional reserve banking. It still runs the entire world today. As long as trust holds, it works. Everyone believes the paper is good. But if everyone runs for their gold at once, the whole thing collapses. That is a bank run, the nightmare hiding under every bank. In 1694, England went one step further. It created a central bank. The Bank of England was founded to lend a king money for war. The state itself now borrowed money into existence. Debt, again, at the center. Look how far we've drifted. From a favor, to silver, to paper, to a promise about a promise. But one anchor still held. All this paper could still be traded for gold. Until it couldn't. For centuries, paper money made a solemn promise. Bring this note to the bank, and we will give you real gold for it. After 1944, the world tied its money to the US dollar, and the dollar in turn was tied to gold. $35 an ounce. Gold was the final anchor, the last thing standing behind the paper. Then, on August 15, 1971, one man cut the string. U.S. President Richard Nixon ended the dollar's link to gold. Live on television. From that day, no paper money on earth could be traded for gold. Every dollar, every euro, every note in your pocket became something new. Fiat money, backed by nothing but the words of a government. Fiat is Latin. It means simply, let it be. A ruler says this paper is money, and so, by belief alone, it is. This is the world you live in right now. Money held up by nothing but trust. And it gets stranger. Because most money today isn't even paper. Look at your bank balance. That number is not a stack of bills in a vault. It's just data. Over 90% of all money exists only as numbers on screens. And here is the part almost no one is taught. When a bank gives you a loan, it doesn't hand you someone else's savings. It simply types a number into your account. New money, created from nothing. The Bank of England admitted this plainly in 2014. Most money in the modern economy is created by banks making loans, which means almost every dollar in existence is somebody's debt. The favor from the campfire never left. We just scaled it to 8 billion people. So look again at the paper you handed the stranger at the start. It isn't gold. It isn't food. It never was. It's a promise everyone agreed to keep. Money isn't a thing you own. It's a story we all keep telling, at the same time. The moment enough of us stop believing the story, the money simply stops. You were never really holding wealth. You were holding trust, and trust is all it ever was.